right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. And I am thrilled, to put it mildly, to have this guest, one of my favorite podcast hosts. And she had the Michelle Rundgren podcast, so I guess I've kind of given away who it is. Restaurateur, singer, dancer, multi-talented performer, comedian. I mean, you've done a lot. So, what is your preferred title? I mean, what is the one thing that you look at and go, man, that's the thing I'm the most proud of?
I think singer-dancer, just those two words together, to me, yeah, that's the thing I'm most proud of. Well, I'm supposed to say, as a mother. I mean, a mother.
Well, I didn't mention mother, so shame on me as well.
I think every mother says that, like, I forgot. I'm proud of being a mother.
Yeah. So aside from being a mother, that's what I should have said. I would have given you the softball. Yeah, it's interesting. There was recently Outside Inside is celebrating an anniversary. I think it's the 40th, and I know that I've interviewed Fee a couple of times. He's a great interview, and he always talks about how the Martha Davis vocals had to be replaced by you. And I've never said this before, but you did a better job on the vocals than she did. She just had the name at the time.
Thank you. Well, David Foster wanted me to cop her so that cop all her vocal inflections. So maybe nobody would know, and hardly anybody knew. Even DJs didn't know.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it's a great version, and then it was on some of the subsequent CD releases, and I never understood what the legal snafu was, but we could probably do a whole podcast on that someday.
No, it was just that the motels were going to release a record before they thought they would, and they didn't. They thought that song would compete with their own releases. So she said, "I don't want that released as a single because it will interfere with our album." So I was like, hey, it was great for me. That's the day I met Prince, and it was fun.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome. I don't think I've ever heard the story of you meeting Prince.
Oh, well, maybe we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, we will. Well, let's get to Todd Stock first, because I know a lot of people are going to want to talk about that. And we'll just start from bringing us up to speed. I know that you had some issues in terms of more people wanted to go than could go. I'm before we get too far into it, I'm one of those people who can't go because I'm a teacher and it's Regents Week, which in New York State is final exam, so I can't go. But you know what? I'm happy for everybody that can, and this gives me an opportunity to kind of live vicariously through the Todd fans. So even though I'm not going to be there physically, I'm going to be there spiritually. So what was the challenge in terms of getting the number of people that really wanted to go to the island?
Well, when we first did it, we did it on our property, and it's just not big enough for all of us now. But then it was maybe 165 people, 100, I think, I'm guessing. And we could handle that. And that was a lot. But Kauai is not really set up for big, huge parties, except if you're rich and can take over a hotel. So the first property we got fell through because we'd reached the threshold. And also it just, the stage was only like 18 inches off the ground. And I thought, we're all going to have to like sit in a chair to see the bands and stuff. It just didn't work. Yeah. Getting camping for those who needed to camp is still difficult. I have a field, and it's pretty close to the venue, but not within walking distance. So there are just so many things. There's no infrastructure. So I'm bringing in all the infrastructure. And it's kind of a big challenge, but I'm helping set up a bunch of local businesses too, with now they're going to be able to cater to larger groups too. I'm teaching them how to do that.
On some level, this has got to be both fun and challenging. You know what I mean?
I like last night I woke up at 3:30 in the morning and just started typing notes, and I looked over and was like, oh, sun's coming up. Yeah, it's worth it. It makes Todd so happy, and that I'm also getting the house all finished. It was an unfinished house, but thanks to Todd and Daryl touring so much, I can get that goofy tile that he ordered set in the floor, and and there'll be house tours. So guys, I think he's going to be really proud of all the goofy stuff he's finished, and so we'll we'll do the home and garden show.
I mean, is there any plans for? I mean, I know at one point it was kicked around that maybe there'd be another one on the mainland or anything. I mean, I can't imagine that you would have the energy to have to organize a second one. But I mean, I guess I'll just throw it out there.
I think what we did last time is other people organized those. I mean, I helped with that, but for instance, like Camp Navarro was, really fan driven. So if somebody has an idea that could accommodate the people that didn't get a chance to, I would be open to that. And I can coach, but I ain't going to produce. It's actually my new job. As soon as I get a little more free from the restaurant, is to produce 4 large events on Kauai. So my next one is August 26th. It's Woofstock, 1 day of peas and love.
Wow.
Dog pee. So Woofstock. It's gonna and it'll benefit Kauai SPCA. That's kind of my little passion here.
Oh, that's odd. Well, we mentioned before we went on the air. I mean, I have 5 dogs, so I mean, obviously, I love animals as well, and man, they just
Yeah.
I don't know, they make your life so happy. But I'm going off on a little bit of a bunny trail there. I know Lynn out there is probably going, "Oh, yay!"
Yeah. No, I'll just tell you, Todd put a 4-dog limit on me, so that's why we have 6.
That's fantastic. So this is the 4th time. I know there was a year there were multiple Todd stocks, but in looking back, obviously, if it's a 4th time, and now you're talking about doing events on Kauai and all that, what are the things that you have learned in terms of making an event run a little bit smoother? And I know you can't anticipate everything, but certainly there has to be a level of familiarity in terms of what to expect at this point.
Yeah. Well, I think I've been producing events on Kauai for, actually even on the mainland, for schools. Lots of, or like the fire department I produced an event for, and so I'm getting pretty used to it. And I think doing 4 a year is going to be a piece of cake. So because when you're in the school systems, with the 4 of the kids, somebody always needs something, and they're never in the same school at the same time. So yeah, I think I've got it down, and I've learned though how to do a bigger event. Like Todd Stock is going to be bigger, so I need like concert water towers and things that I didn't know existed way back then. Back then we just got like tons and tons of water bottles. Well, now we're trying not to do that. So we're working with Save Our Seas, and so we'll have composting and trying to recycle glasses and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, no, I read something on the.
I learned a lot of little things.
Well, that's. I mean, isn't it the little things that when it comes to event planning that are the most important? I mean, you need porta potties, right? But somebody was mentioning in the Todd Stock group the other day something I didn't think about in terms of sunscreen. I live in the Buffalo, New York area. I don't necessarily think about the difference between Buffalo sun and where Hawaii is in related to the equator and what I have to do to stay hydrated.
And thanks to you, Tom, you brought up something that I'm working on right now. We Save Our Seas is also trying to save our reefs around the island. And so there are certain types of sunscreen that need to be used on the island that are reef safe. So I'm trying to get that in bulk. And so nobody buy their sunscreen yet. And I'm also, occasionally we have bug problems with brand new fresh blood on the island. So I'm trying to reach out to Avon. They haven't not called me back, and see if I can get massive doses of Skin So Soft, because it works great for bugs.
Oh, that's my go-to for mosquitoes.
Is it too? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It works. It works like
and
a
you
charm.
Smell like your grandma.
Well, yeah.
I do. I walk around when it's mosquito season. I smell like my grandma.
my grandmother actually smelled like mothballs, because back in those days, for some reason, they still use mothballs, and it was like, so whenever I smell mothballs, I immediately picture my grandmother, because I don't know, it was a thing. I don't know. It's not a great smell.
No.
It's one of those things you probably won't need to bring to Todd Stock is mothballs. Can we agree to that?
Mothballs. Don't need any mothballs.
So where are you at in terms of numbers right now? I know at one point it was kind of a semi-hard cap at 300. I assume you were able to go above that. So is it what, between a 3 and 4 range, I guess?
It's four. It's already four.
Oh, excellent.
And there are, ones coming in here and there, I think, as they finally figure out that they can make it. But it would be pretty cool if somebody decided to do something in the Midwest that everybody could go to.
We're planting a
Like
seed here,
Cleveland.
Michelle. We're planting
Yeah.
a seed. Yeah, because that'll be the one
Cleveland
I
is
think
easy for everybody to get to.
Yeah, well, that's great. And I mean, what so far in terms of, I mean, what are the typical questions that you're getting from people? Because I would imagine at this point, I mean, do you answer all your own emails, or do you have an assistant that's maybe able to help field some of the questions?
I have two assistants, and so they one that for the restaurant is helping me too, and then one out on the mainland. So, and those people have been with me for a long time, so they're helping me. They'll answer the ones that we've always answered every year. They're just from people that haven't gone to Toddstock, and they're also really patient people. So, well, no, actually, Cindy's not. But, so you guys will all meet Cindy. She's my executive assistant for the restaurant, and you'll meet Cindy. She's not patient, but she gets every job done.
Well, I mean, the restaurant industry in terms of event planning, I mean, I was in the restaurant industry for many years, and you really learn to kind of react and deal with things on an immediate level. It's not like the rest of the world where you come in, you got, or even, not to pick on poor Todd, but, making an album, you can sort of do it at your own pace on some level, but at a restaurant,
Right.
everything's coming at you at a million miles an hour.
Yeah, there's something weird happening every day. And we just had, I guess, the latest catastrophe for us was because I have such great people that work for me. There's a new hotel that was the principal hotel, took years to rebuild. There is no extra housing or affordable housing anywhere on the island. So they needed to come in and steal employees.
Wow.
So they got 8 at mine, and half of them though were working my place and their place double shifts. So it's, I have such great loyal people, and you guys will probably meet them. I'll put something up there that I have it all blocked off at night and for lunch. If the Toddstockers want to go to lunch or dinner there, we can make arrangements. It's super small. So that's why I have to block it out for the regular public, and I'll release that pretty soon where people can ask to go. But then you don't want to miss the nighttime activities at Toddstock.
I know that, I mean, do you have something specific planned for each night? Because I know in the past there's been some that have been a little bit looser. And I would assume you're at an advantage now because having some people that have been to Toddstock and others that haven't, that you almost have these natural, there's probably going to be some kind of buddy system in a way, wouldn't you think?
Almost. I mean, we call them fan bands because so many of Todd's fans are musicians. And so anybody that wants to sing or play an instrument or ding a triangle can participate. And then we have what we call curators, and they're taking certain nights, and they'll do certain numbers and certain things on certain nights. And many of those nights will involve fans. I mean, all of them involve fans. So, and if you want to sing, it'll be part of the survey. Do you want to sing? What song? Do you want to just sing backup? Do you want to just be in the back clapping your hands just to be on stage? We make that happen. So we try to be all inclusive if we can, and we always have problem children. But
I'm sure I was at some point, but not anymore. But
no, you weren't. No,
not in the Todd fan community. I mean, as an actual child, that was a problem.
Oh, it is actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's a Todd concert involved at some point, I believe. Is that correct? Is that going to be kind of like they did with the first one, where I'm not saying that I know Arena was the album that was presented at the first one. Is this going to be something that's going to be related to an album or just a concert, or can you tell me?
I don't think so. No, I would tell you if I couldn't tell you. Since there's no new record out, I know Todd's going to play. I just don't know what he has planned. But So yeah, the guys are coming the same time everybody else is, and during the day they'll be here at our house rehearsing while we're at Common Ground or at all our outdoor activities. So we're trying to schedule things for people that, don't have activities around the island. So there might be something to do at Common Ground each day, and rehearsals for if you were performing in one of those fan bands.
Yeah, I've
And
always
then
at events I've loved performing with people. I think it's a true highlight of the fan community. People have a really
great.
good time with that.
One of my favorite times was coaching. We called them, and they called themselves the Fraidy Cats. And that was taking people who were afraid to be on stage or afraid to sing. And we did vocal lessons together every day. And then they got up on stage and sang. And it was pretty cool. I get tears in my eyes thinking about it.
So speaking of cats, are the Intoxicats going to be there as well?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I didn't want to work on his birthday or play on his birthday. So Intoxicats are playing.
Right.
And then the next night, Todd plays with the band. The whole band's coming, and Bruce McDaniels is stepping in for Jesse.
Well, you brought up Jesse, and it's kind of on my list of things to talk about. And I mean, what a loss! I mean, I was blessed to get to see him on my birthday at Daryl's house. That was the last time I was able to see him perform. But I can't imagine how Mary Lou's feeling right now. Certainly, if she's in any way listening, I mean, I know your heart goes out to her as much as all of us does. But
she's one of the bravest women on earth.
Yeah, just a sweet lady. Aside from Chasm, Jesse's the longest tenured member of the band. So, well, maybe Prairie, I think, came along around the same second wind tour too. But that had to be a tough loss for you guys, because this was right around the time that you were planning Toddstock, and I was thinking about that at the time. Like, that must have been really difficult. I mean, not that there's ever a good time to lose somebody, but that must have been really tough on you guys.
It was, but we got to say goodbye a couple really times. Sorry, Tom.
No need to apologize. As I said,
but Mary Lou's coming.
Well, and that warms my heart to hear that. It really does. And I think that if nothing else comes out of this particular podcast episode, I think that's going to warm a lot of our hearts, because I found that in times of loss, I don't want to be around anybody, but I need that comfort and those hugs and that support. And Bruce McDaniels, I met him, interviewed him. He seems like he just is a good dude. I mean, nobody's going to replace Jesse, but
yeah, he is so talented, but also super nice guy and funny. Yeah, so he's Jesse's the one who actually brought him in.
Yeah, Lizzie Goldstein and we interviewed Jesse and Mary Lou New Year's Eve a couple of years ago, and he mentioned Bruce, that he introduced him to the band. And what I like about Bruce too is that I was able to see him at the shows in Chicago in person, and he didn't try to mimic Jesse, and he said that Todd gave him the leeway to do that. And I think in some ways that's very respectful, because when you come in to take somebody's place in a band, you're taking the spot, but you're not taking the place. You never replace Jesse Gress. You replace a guitarist who is able to do their own thing. So that's important. I mean, that's got to be an emotional moment for everybody, because this will be one of the first times he'll have played since Jesse has passed. Well, he's going out with Daryl as well. So
yeah, and actually, Bruce jumped in an emergency with Daryl. Just called him in the morning and said, Daryl's guitar player is sick, had to go to the hospital or something. Can you get on a plane right now and be there in time for sound check? He got there just enough time for sound check. I think they sent him the set list, but no music, nothing else. And he just jumped in and did all Daryl's stuff.
Wow.
I mean, he knows that stuff. He did all Daryl's stuff.
Yeah.
And and at one point there's we'll have him tell the story, but there's some part in a Daryl song that's not the same as the record. It's so the guys at soundcheck said, hey, he gets really picky about this part. And it kind of goes like this. They had one time to just go, it kind of goes like this on the piano. And Bruce was like, "Oh, okay, well," and so he nailed it. And Daryl actually turned around, shocked that he said, "You're a regular guitar player never gets that right." So he was he was a superhero.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I mean, Bruce plays not only Todd music but Zappa music, so I think in some ways that really has challenged him as a guitarist because that both of those catalogs, I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to tell anybody what to do, but I was just thinking, and everybody can talk to Mary Lou in their own way, but I was thinking like that saying of "I'm sorry for your loss." Yeah, but wouldn't it be great if you just said something, your favorite memory about Jesse instead?
That yeah,
Or hey,
I agree. I was reading somewhere. Like I remember when my mother passed away, and and it's I think people don't know what to say. So I don't think maybe it's good to kind of prepare everybody to say something to her. And because yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. Just I don't know. It sounds empty, even though it's not. You know what I mean? Everybody has the best of
right.
intentions when they say that, but
If she hears it 400 times, like,
yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking, maybe and we lost a lot of people this year. So one thing I thought would be great is if everybody has a picture, their favorite picture of Jesse, or friends that we've lost this year, Todd fans, that we have a place that we can go put their pictures up. It doesn't have to be the 8x10. It can just be anything, just 4 little things to remember them by. And or tell Mary Lou your favorite Jesse story. Make a chart, because there are 400 people going to tell her that.
Well, I tell you, if I saw her, first thing I'd say to her is, "It's so good to see you, and I love you."
Yeah.
Because I mean that's the thing. She's and having written and covered the music scene for I don't know, it's going on 20 years now, I guess. She was always one of the easiest people to deal with. I mean, she just was very responsive, always took care of me in terms of photo passes and everything, and but
Okay.
she's a very chill person, and not
She is. Oh my,
not an
yeah.
air of arrogance about her, which in this industry is unique, as I'm sure you know.
That's exactly right. Not an air of arrogance. Nobody's ever said it that way, but yes, you're right. She can be super sweet and giggly girl, and then just extreme businesswoman, not letting anybody get any shit to anybody. Just like amazing woman.
Well, on some level, your and Todd's relationship since beginning, it was on tour. And actually, I had seen you guys in Batavia, New York, right around the time you got together. I think it was in Michigan. And then, Jesse and Mary Lou, they met on the Second Wind tour.
Yeah.
And I think there were flowers involved in both situations as well. Have you ever thought about how those relationships sort of came about similarly, or?
I'd never thought about the similarity, but yeah, flowers worked on both occasions.
Yeah, yeah. They're both great love stories. I mean, Mary Lou's love story with Jesse is just it's so sweet. I don't know. We don't have to go into it. Actually, there's a podcast interview I did with her many years ago. I'll have to put it up for people and put a link in the show notes because
Oh, cool.
I just loved everything that she had to say about it. And yeah, as you said, we've lost some dear fans this year. My good friend Janice Marie passed away as well, and boy, she'll be at Todd Stock as well in spirit. She was a very feisty lady who just was great to be around at shows, and another person that you lost as far as the music community, Rick Anderson from the Tubes passed
From
away
the
this
two.
past year as well. He was another sweet guy, just kind of laid back. So I don't know. It's got to be tough on
Really
some
was.
level.
And what a bass player. Oh my gosh. And yeah, Rick had very little ego too. I mean, everybody has an ego, but he could just be so chill and do his job. Hardly, always did his job.
Yeah.
And super nice guy, super sweet. I hate it when girls say he's so sweet, but Rick really was.
So just to shift a little bit, kind of on the same topic, and we touched on it before, talking about Jesse, of course, but the rest of the band, I'm going to guess you're going to have Chasm Sultan, of course. You got Prairie Prince, you got Bruce McDaniel. Anybody else come? I mean, keyboards. Is it
And
Gil, right?
Gil's coming.
Yep.
The boy wonder is coming. And then Bobby will be here. His whole family's going to be here.
Well, Bobby lives out there, doesn't he? I think I heard that.
No, he doesn't live out here. He
Oh, he
lives
doesn't.
in California.
Oh, he lives in California, which
He
actually
does come say once a year.
that leads me to the next question. This is a little bit of history question here, and I think we'll kind of wrap it up in a little bit because this is, I don't know. There's not much more great stuff we could talk about this time. We'll save some stuff for next time. But how did you and Todd wind up in Hawaii? And it was, if I remember correctly, so Todd's in Woodstock, and then you go to San Francisco, and then you wind up in Hawaii. Uh,
Well, a couple things. One, I vacationed in Oahu when I was 16. It was a dance exchange program. And Todd had been coming to Kauai a few times in the early 80s. So he wanted to go on a vacation. So he brought me to Kauai. We stayed at the famous Coco Palms Hotel and just were like, oh my God, this is paradise. It is so beautiful. I can't wait for people who haven't been here to see it. It's just gorgeous. Then we decided to do Christmas there with the kids, and we put the presents under the palm trees. Probably I put them there at 8 o'clock at night. They're outside where people can walk by and stuff, and we wake up and they're still out there under the palm tree. It's safe. It's beautiful. And we decided that we would live there when the kids were grown. We're gonna live on Kauai when they're grown. Then, Rex became an adolescent and was such an amazing athlete. We knew he could make a living doing that, but he had a kind of a group of friends that were starting to get into some trouble. And so we had to rush our plan up a bit. We thought we need to get him. Well, it was basically, he was hanging out with one of his buddies was Tupac's cousin. And the day that Tupac picked Rex and his cousin up and drove around that, and we're like, oh no. Oh, well, God, he wants to be a gangster. Yeah, we need to get to Kauai sooner. So I looked at schools up and down the West Coast for baseball coaches. And there was a really good one on Oahu. And that had a big factor too, because we knew he'd be a pro baseball player. So we moved to Kauai early, broke as hell. We rented this little beat up house, and the UPS driver came up to the house with a package, said, Todd Rundgren lives here. I said, yes, we do. So we actually already bought our property, but we just couldn't afford to build a house, and we were really broke. But it all worked out beautifully. The boys had a beautiful childhood and adolescence, and went to really good schools that kept you a kid for a long time. And yeah, so it was definitely the right move. And we're going to have an open house here where everybody can see all the rooms of the house. And our first night of registration, don't worry, you'll get to see sunsets if you're not here on the 17th. But every night we stop and we watch that sunset. It's just that spectacular. And it's so quiet and just beautiful. There's so much beauty, and there are lots of places to go that are safe to swim, and some that aren't. We'll let you know what's good and what's bad. But I'd love to take people's questions about Toddstock, about anything.
Awesome.
And you and I can talk about them.
We'll do that. So we'll plan on reconvening in a couple of weeks, and then so I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of questions, and we'll just do it like this. We'll throw up the podcast episode once you've listened to it. This will determine if they got this far into the episode as well. I'll put an email address in the show notes that you can send them to me, or you can put them in the Toddstock Facebook group. And there's a dog. See, I told you they'd bark at some point before we got.
Oh, I couldn't hear. I love them though. That's cute. What are their names?
I've got one of them's Chasm, and he's the barkiest one, ironically. And then the rest of them are Irish named. I got Murphy after Dropkick Murphys, Molly after Flogging Molly, Latte because she used to have a little white spot, and Guinness because he looks like Guinness. So I'm a Todd fan and an Irish guy, so I guess that likes coffee. So we got them all covered. What are your dogs' names? You said you have 6?
Yeah, actually, 2 of the dogs belong. One belongs to one of my workers from Tiki Niki. I kind of hired. He didn't have a place to live, so he built himself a little tent out there in the garden, and then he works for us all the time. Scott has Cooper. And then our Hanai kids. Hanai kids mean the kids that you didn't give birth to, but they're like your kids. So everyone will meet Abby and Alex. Spicoli. He looks like Spicoli. It sounds like him. So they live in one of the rooms in the house and take care of everything when we're gone and the yard and stuff when we're home. And so their dog is named Blue. And our dogs are, I remember we've had so many dogs. I have to remember. Okay. I've got Tiki, and she's, Furburger. No, Furburger's gone. That's right. I have Harley, Tiki, Backup, and Roxy.
Nice. Yeah.
Furburger's
a famous dog name in the Todd community. I think it might have even been Rex or somebody who mentioned on when he was talking to somebody, like, yeah, when I got older, I finally realized what that meant.
We've had 2 Furburgers, one in Woodstock and one in Hawaii.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much. As I said, I'm excited for everybody. I'm excited for me. Hopefully there'll be some kind of, broadcast from the island. I don't want to put more on your plate, but I'm sure either way there'll be something, whether it's live or not. And
I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to get streaming going over there.
That would be great. And you know what? During the week I will say we'll do this every couple of weeks. I don't have any expectation to talk to you during the week of Toddstock because you're going to be crazy busy. But you know what? If there's any people that are going that want to check in with me and we can maybe do some episodes from a fan perspective, I think that would be nice for those of us that are
that would be great.
On the mainland. So we'll do that. But and then next time, in 2 weeks, I'm going to put in my notes. We're going to talk about that time you met Prince because I'm intrigued to hear that story, and I'm sure we'll get some other stories. And again, the final takeaway today too. Let's keep putting our heads together for the Mary Lou stuff, and we're going to make her feel welcome and all that kind of stuff. And as I said, I don't know. I think about that situation every day. I was heartbroken, but as you said, she's a very strong woman, and we got to be there for each other, right?
Yeah, she's a good example for all of us because all of us will be constantly losing people, and people will lose us. So,
absolutely. All right. Well, again, until next time, thank you. My name is Tom Jennings, and of course, my guest today was Michelle Rundgren, and this is the Toddstock 75 podcast. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.